Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to a fresh new episode of Knock Off the Perch, where we talk everything Manchester United. Another day, another loss for United in Premier League. Don't know where the form has gone, don't know where the players have gone, don't know where the pride has gone. We lose another game to Chelsea, a 1-0 loss. What did you make of the game, Aruj? What did you make of the players' lack of effort, if I may say?
Yeah, so to be very honest, I don't see a point in analyzing last game too much. With this was a game where probably in the first half we had some bit of control, but that control did not result in us creating any chances. And I think it felt to me in the second half that Chelsea were the team which wanted that victory more. And probably the players didn't want to make that, extra sprint, didn't want to put that extra effort in the tackle, wanting to preserve themselves for the Europa League final, which to some extent is understandable. But I think in the larger scheme of things, our Premier League form has been really, really poor, and it is a little bit of a concern for me. I Just the fact that we were eighth last year and we had so much of an issue with that, right? We had never finished, below seventh earlier, and that was also the Moyes season. Even in our poor seasons after Sir Alex, we were finishing like sixth, seventh at max. Then eighth last season, and you're like, okay, we can only improve from here. The question is, how much can we improve? And we have ended up being 16th, 15th, 17th. That is where we'll end up in the Premier League. I'm very worried about this team going forward. But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
clearly to say all the hope which came along with the Ineos management, with the new manager, expecting a new manager bounce under Amorim, that has clearly evaporated. The only hope this season has been left out of Europa League. What we try to understand today in this episode would be what are the underlying issues in this Manchester United team? Are these easy fixes or are there underlying culture problems which need to be solved, and will they take a lot of time in doing that?
exactly, exactly. And let's talk about United's form in the Premier League since Amorim has come in. We thought that Amorim is this guy who, for Sporting was 11 on 11. He 3 points every game he was getting. He had 11 wins on the bounce in the league. But since he has come in, we have had only 6 wins in 26 Premier League games. This sounds like some team which is going to get relegated, right? 14 losses. We didn't used to lose 14 games in entire, a period of 2, 3 seasons at times, at max losing 4, 5 games a season. And now we are losing like 18, 19, 20 games in a Premier League season. That has become the new normal for us. And that is a big concern. And it is not like that the underlying data is much better. The underlying data is pretty much where we are. We are 12th in the league on XG. We are 15th in the league on XG conceded, which pretty much goes on to show our position somewhere around 13th, 14th, 15th, which is accurate. And the only teams that we are winning are against the likes of Southampton, Ipswich, Leicester, and we have managed to nick a win against Fulham, City, and Everton somehow. So I think some of those results and some of the outcome that we are seeing is really poor. Now the question is, why is it so? Right. And what is the initial
think
hypothesis? Yeah.
I don't think even the wins that we are seeing are like very convincing wins. The Southampton game, if you remember, we won that game 3-1. On paper, that looks like a routine win against a relegated team.
Yeah.
But if you remember, 70 minutes of the game, we were on the back foot.
Yeah, yeah. It was, I
Eh,
think, only after the 80th minute, Ahmad got 3 goals, that hat trick.
Yeah, yeah. And so on for the game against Everton. I think the Man City game was a outlier when all of our players really turned up and performed to their best.
But that too, we won only in the last few minutes. We were trailing 1-0. We won it in the last few minutes. Everton, I think, was a little bit of a new manager bounce. We won that 4-0. But apart from that, Ipswich, I don't know if we were the better team there. We managed to get that win. Okay, Leicester, we were maybe relatively better. Fulham against, we were not the better team. We nicked that 1-0. So overall, I think the larger problem is that this team is not just playing good enough in the Premier League. Also, I think let's now discuss in terms of where are these issues, why are we so bad, and the first thing that we want to talk about is the players, right? Majority of this squad was with us the last year. We made a few signings, we let go of a few players, but this squad finished 8th, and now we are 16th. And one thing that is being talked about a lot is that this team is not ready to physically challenge in the Premier League. And which is why we tend to do all right in European competition, where the opposition is not so physical, they're probably technical, and we are able to play in transition. But what do you think about our players? Is that a problem?
Definitely is. I mean, we have started to play in a new system without having the best players in that system as well. Even if I don't talk about the system, the standalone players, they haven't been performing up to their best. I mean, we keep talking about Garnacho, we keep talking about Hoyland. They haven't performed as well as they should have. Okay, I mean, you can give them a bit of leeway in the fact that they are both young players and a lot of expectations very early on in their careers. But when Hoylund was brought in, there was an expectations of a minimum 15-20 goal, and he achieved that in the first season. So the expectation the next season is that he'll step up.
Yeah.
A lot of players, including Hoylund, haven't stepped up. I'd say they have regressed. Onana's form has been, back and forth throughout the season.
Yeah.
The defense is the one, area of the team wherein I have some faith because I see good players in there, but we haven't been able to maintain the right fitness there.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of injuries. Midfield, also, I'd say we have a few good players, but not all of them have stayed fit throughout the time. We have seen a resurgence from Casemiro. Uh, Ericsson has not been given the minutes for some reason, even in these, Premier League games. Mount has come in and increased that floor of the technicality. That is a good thing. And of course, Bruno has been Bruno. Bruno has shown. So I feel overall, if we talk, there are missing pieces in the starting 11, and I don't think all of these players are really good enough for Manchester United level.
Agree.
When I talk about that level, I'm talking about Champions League, at least trying to go to the Champions League places level. If you play these 2024 players in any with any manager, I think this is the result you would get. I don't think any manager can get more out of them.
So there, I wouldn't agree 100%. Probably you could be a little pragmatic and, achieve certain results out of that. But yeah, this team is not expected to do well. The players that we have in any good team, I think, needs to have like 4 or 5 top players. And I think we only have one at this point in time, which is Bruno Fernandes. Apart from that, we don't have a world class player who could probably walk into any team in the world. And then after those 4 or 5 players, you have consistently decent, consistently good players, and you need at least like another 4, 5, 6 of them. And I think there also we don't have folks who are consistently playing good enough. Maybe Ahmad, when he's on the pitch, he looks like he's consistently good enough. He will consistently do things, taking on your opposition, making the right decisions. But apart from that, everybody else has been inconsistent, right? Maybe to some extent you can say the likes of Maguire, etc. They are consistent, fairly consistent in few of the games. But the problem is it is just 1 or 2 or 3 players, even if you count the likes of Casemiro in. And the rest of the 7, 8 players, I don't think they get into any of the other, let's say, top 10 Premier League teams. I don't see Rasmus Højlund starting for any of the other top 10. I think pretty much everybody has a striker which will start above Rasmus Højlund. Garnacho has potential, but he has not lived up to that potential. I am not again getting into that space where is he somebody who is to be blamed for all this? But it's a problem that we haven't solved. We can't rely fully on a 20-year-old to give us that input day in and day out. So I think there are a lot of these issues, but a manager is supposed to solve for all of those issues, right? Then it raises the next question: is Amorim's system not good enough? What worked for Sporting in the Portugal League, will it work for United in the Premier League? And do we have it in us to sort of play that system and win matches consistently? What do you think?
I think most of the matches till now, which I've seen under Amorim, a lot of them have been marred by individual errors. If you remove these individual errors or try and minimize them as much as you can see that what he's trying to do. You can see the chance formation. You can see, how he progress play, and it is a good thing to watch. It is a good thing to know how your team are going to play. Under Mourinho, under Van Gaal, under Ole, and under Erik ten Hag, never had an identity. Maybe the best identity we had was something under Louis Van Gaal when we used to keep possession, but we didn't have intelligent players enough to know what to do of that positions.
Yeah.
I can totally imagine having a Bruno in that, in that midfield of Louis Van Gaal and doing brilliant things. But of course, life doesn't work out that way. I can remember having a totally reliance on counter attacks under Ole. That was a wild era, and as much as we were enjoying it, it's not sustainable in the long run.
Correct.
So finally, we have a system which is a proven system, even if it's proven at Sporting, wherein you can perform. And when I see the chance creation, when I see the goals that we have actually scored, even though there have not been a lot of them, I have faith in the manager. I have faith in the system. So I don't think it's the system which is not good enough. What are your thoughts on this?
I think at times you need to tweak it. However, Amorim has been very open about the fact that this is broadly the system we are going to play. Obviously, in-game management will come in and where they will make certain tweaks, but largely it is going to be the system, and this squad has to learn to play that system, or he is going to sign new players and make them
Hmm.
play that system. I think the real test of it will come in August, September, October, when hopefully he has a few of his own players and he has had a preseason to drill down the system in the players. And if you're able to see results, then great. Otherwise, Amorim has to tweak it. And if we are not getting results, it could be a big challenge. And which is where I think the third point also becomes very, very critical. Has it been the club management? We're talking about the players, we're talking about the manager or the coach, but it has also been a very poorly managed club in the last few years. All the reports that we've been reading about the fact that how recruitment has been done, how the behind the scenes have been managed, our training facilities are probably not top notch anymore. Our academy is probably the only area which is still uh,
Hmm.
bringing out players who have high potential. But that again, we are not leveraging the entire sporting ecosystem that well. And with Ineos coming in, there have been a lot of these cuts in the staff, etc., which doesn't leave a lot of good feeling within the entire ecosystem of staff, team members, etc. So maybe that is another issue which over the years sort of has plagued
Hmm.
Manchester United. I don't know. I haven't seen enough from Ineos to say they are doing a really good job. But hopefully we will, they're making some of those changes where the results will come in the next couple of years or so.
Hmm. So, I mean, credit where it's due. Ineos have come in and started placing football people in football positions, something
True.
which should have been done in the last 10 years and wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you don't have that, when you have an accountant for a head of a football club, you would see results which, mirror that.
Yeah.
You would see stupid deals, you would see stupid extensions, you would see players who are brought on their name more than if they're
Correct.
more than on their fitment of the team. But I see a tweak in that. I see a change in that. Second thing which comes is we haven't had a consistency in the manager position as well. So there has always been a way of recruiting which has gone wherein the manager has had a lot of say. I see that changing as well. Even though Amorim says that he has the final say, I see that Wilcox and others do have a lot of say in the direction of this recruitment which is done.
True.
To that, I want to say that I felt our last window was very good. With the players like Euro profile of Euro, Zubzi, Dillit, Mazuroi, Aiden Heaven, all of these players I think are good players. Dorgu, even though he hasn't performed to his best, I think all of these investments, the recent investments, will come good. I don't know if we'll get 15, 20 goals out of Zirkzee or whatever, but what we have seen is after his criticism, he has improved a lot. So
True.
I do see us moving in a positive direction, but again, if we are going to follow the same loop that we don't get results, we fire the manager, and then we start a rebuild again, I don't think that will be a good way to go. I really hope the management the club management, Ratcliffe, Wilcox, and others do give Amorim enough time to fix the problems, to actually fix the problems, because the problems are right now laid bare in front of us. Something which Ragnick mentioned. This is the open heart surgery which he mentioned, and you mentioned in that Amorim's first window what he did.
Yeah.
I think we need something of that sort.
Absolutely true, absolutely true. And it sort of brings up these questions around, what next? And you spoke about both these facts that we had a bit of a decent window last time, but the profile of players that we are investing in at this point in time are probably late teens, early 20s who could
Mm.
do well in next 2 to 3 years. I think
Mm.
that is great. That's a great direction to take. But I think we almost need a perfect window where we get a couple of these, especially in the problematic positions like the
Mm.
center forward, like probably one of the central midfielders as well, where
Mm.
we get players who deliver right from the go. They are signed in and they have a really good first season for the league. We need somebody to come in and score that 20-25 goals, be that attacking threat for United, and which is where there's a lot of pressure on the Ineos management to deliver a perfect transfer window in the summer. And then I think Amorim needs to balance out his system, what it takes to succeed in the Premier League and get the results out of it. Because if we are averaging 1 point per game after, let's say, 10 games in October, I think there will be a lot of pressure on him come November. If we are 10 points from 10 games, it will be a little bit of a difficult situation. What do you think? Could Amorim's job be in danger?
Mm, I mean, it's a far off idea, but to be honest, I think he's been given leeway in this year, and that this leeway is also totally precedented because he was brought in mid-season. He never wanted to come in mid-season.
Yeah.
He was brought in forcefully mid-season to a club which was already looking like it had signs of degradation.
Yeah.
And what we are seeing in the league right now is the underlying metrics. You mentioned it already. The underlying metrics do suggest that we do belong in that position. We are not better than the 16th position as we are in on this day. So this season he did get the leeway. He has seen all the problems. Yes, if he gets the Ineos support in the summer, as many players as he wants in, as many of the players as he wants out of the club, uh, of course, the pressure would be on Amarim to deliver then.
Exactly, exactly. And hopefully he can. Hopefully he can deliver. We need a very solid transfer window. We need a good start to the next season so that the confidence is back up there. And we as fans really need a good Premier League season. Last 2 seasons have really been a downer. We need to see the team competing well in most of the Premier League games, getting that, top four, top five, so that we become relevant as a club in Premier League again. And hopefully we can do that.